Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. So tonight's show is going to be about Albert Pike. We're going to talk about one of the most famous Masons um, that that is known. Let's just put it out there like that. Yes, he was a Confederate general. Um, his past has a lot of is etchy. But when it comes to Freemasonry, he's one of the most renowned writers and quoters of Freemasonry there is. We're going to talk about Albert Pike and what did he bring to Freemasonry. How do most black Masons feel about Albert Pike? So we're going to have this conversation tonight because I think that it needs to be had. Looking at today, times and what's going on, I think we need to take a look at Brother Albert Pike, as some would call him. One of the most famous quotes of Albert Pike is that before he would allow or sit in a lodge with a black man or a Negro at the time, that he would leave Masonry. That is one of the most quoted things that you can say in regards to Albert Pike. Also, the famous Dogs and Magma, one of the most famous and quoted books of our times. And those things that really stand out. I mean, Mr. Pike, he did his thing. And we're going to have this conversation tonight because there are other Masons. And when I say other Masons, there are other great Masons that have done a great works, but you don't hear about them. So what's going on with that? And some of them are African Americans, black or Negro, whatever name you want to tag to them to identify who they are. There are some other great Masons out there that have done a lot of great work for Masons. But tonight, in regards to that, we're going to talk about Albert Pike. How do black Masons see Albert Pike? It is once said, and I don't know how true it is, that Albert Pike gave Prince Hall, PHA, not PHO, but PHA, their Scottish Rite rituals. The rituals that PHA have was written by Albert Pike and give it to them. Now, you can say whatever you want to say, how you want to say it. That is the legendary story. That's what has been said. I'm sticking to it. And I like to know a little bit more about that. If anybody got any comments about that story, is it true? Is it fictional? I would like to personally know more about it. I would, because I do I think that is a true story? Nah, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't. Now, could have it possibly happened? It could have, because Pike would have done anything to, in my opinion, to keep Masonry separate. And you must understand, since he's given PHA that set of Scottish Rite volumes that he's supposed to have given to them, you know that they've rewritten their Scottish Rites, right? For those of you who do not know, the ancient accepted Scottish Rite that the predominant Caucasian Masons practice have been rewritten. So the volume that PHA have, they claim that they got from Albert Pike. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's been rewritten or not, but I have a copy. Let me show you. I'll be right there. I'm picking up a copy of the Prince Hall Scottish Rite volume. I have it in my library here. I'm back. So, what I have here are two sets of book. I have the famous Dogs and Magma, written by Albert Pike. Okay, I like it. It's a good read. I really like it. But the question, was this book written for Black Masons? It was not. This book was not written for Black Masons. It was not. I'm just being honest. It is the truth. It was not written for Black Masons. Even though many of us have read this, we like it, we enjoy the readings, it was not written for us. It wasn't. Okay? Let's just have an honest conversation. It was not. In this book right here, you can barely see the writings, but it is a Prince Hall Scottish Rite book. Okay? This book right here was given to me by a Prince Hall brother some years ago. As you can see, 4 through 32. This is their book. This book here is adopted and authorized by the United Supreme Council of the Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite Freemason Prince Hall jurisdiction. This is for the northern jurisdiction of the United States, and the United States Council of the Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite Prince Hall Mason for the southern. This is the southern and northern jurisdiction Scottish Rite book. This is the 1946 version. It was a gift to me from a Prince Hall brother. Okay? So just so you think, well, how I dare you. No, don't dare me. Don't dare me. I have the book. Okay? And this book right here is very closely written to the Scottish Rite Volume 1 and 2 that you can just go purchase. It is the honest truth. Okay? So I have both books. And I would say a lot of the things that I've read in the Albert Pike, Dogs of Margma, it deals with a lot of Africa. It does. I know a lot of Black Masons don't consider Freemasonry to have anything to do with the continent of Africa, but it really does. Let's just be truthful about it. I know many of you are heartbroken to find out that it does, but it's true. It's what it is, and it's really okay. I mean, you can say what you want to say. It's really, really okay. It's really okay. I just want you to know. Hold on just a second. I just want you to know it's not personal. If that's how you feel, really and sincerely, it's not. But we must understand. Dang it, come on up. But we must understand that Freemasonry is bigger than where you're at. Albert Pike had a lot to do with the Supreme Council of Louisiana. Certainly he did. If you don't know anything about the Supreme Council of Louisiana, the Supreme Council of Louisiana was it is the oldest Supreme Council in the United States, which was started by France. Yes, sir. That's a fact. You can call it what you want to call it. I know that down in North Carolina and the Carolinas, they have what they call the Mother Supreme Council, but that's not true. If you go do your own reading and your own research, you will find out that Full House, that's the name you should look for. Supreme Council of Louisiana is the oldest. That is where, from what I've read, that is where Albert Pike was introduced as far as the Scottish Rite is concerned. Now, if you don't believe me, you go do your own research and we can have the conversation and go from there. But that is where it's at. So I'm going to go back and just send out some shout outs to everybody. Greetings to my administrators who are on. Big shout out to Travel, what is his name? Not the Traveling Man, not him. I want to say Traveling Light, if I'm not mistaken. Big shout out to those who've contributed to the channel. Greetings to Eric Collins, one of the administrators on the page. I thought I seen Brother Melvin Little out of Atlanta. Just want to send him a big shout out. Who's that? King Solomon. Big shout out to you. Spirit Dot, what's going on with you? Greetings. KAM Classics. Greetings. Randolph Teller, what's going on? Yes, Albert Pike did give Thornton Jackson the books of the Mars and Dogma. At one time, they said it was lost, couldn't find it, but the Grand Historian of Alabama, PHA, had found the books in Memphis. I don't know much about that story, to be honest with you, Brother Teller. I mean, I've heard the story of Albert Pike giving the Prince Hall Masons PHA under Thornton A. Jackson a set of or a copy of the Scottish Rite manual. How true is that? I don't know. I've never seen them before. I've only heard that that's something that he did. Now, you may know a little bit more about it. And if you do, please do share. And for anybody who wants to call in, please do share. This conversation a little bit deeper than you think on the surface, because when you're looking at Albert Pike and you understand that this guy was a Confederate general, that's what he was. And as you know, today they're trying to tear down his statue, that was erected to him in Washington, D.C. And there's a lot of kickback on that right now. It is. And even the information I've read about Pike makes me shake my head. But as a Freemason, and his writings are good writings. But I must understand that his writings wasn't for me. His writings were not for me. Light Traveler was, yes, Light Traveler. Thank you very much. That's the brother I want to give the big shout out to. Thank you. That's who I was thinking about. So I definitely I want to stay close as I can to the topic tonight and asking the question, what did Albert Pike contribute to Freemasonry as far as the Black Mason is concerned? And we know from history that the Margs and Dogma, even though it is claimed that he gave a copy to Thornton A. Jackson, the Scottish Rite copy, what was really going on at that time? I mean, let's take an honest look at it, and then let's have this conversation. For those who would like to call in tonight and really get involved, because like I said, the information out of Dogs and Magma that Pike written about, I believe that he got it from Full House, Supreme Council, Ancient and Scepter Scottish Rite. One is the oldest Supreme Council in the United States. They are not recognized by the northern or southern jurisdiction as far as the Caucasian Scottish Rite Freemasons are concerned, but they're just as legit. They are who they are, and they've been here for just as long. So I don't know who put that stigma on them. What's up, Vincent? Hey, bro, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's Brother Vincent. Hey, you need to give me a call, bro. That's for real. You need to holler at me. Thank you. I appreciate it. But definitely, we need to just get this work in and see exactly in regards to Albert Pike and his contribution to Freemason, to Freemasonry, and what do Black Masons think of Albert Pike. So I want to hear from you tonight. I want to hear from you in your opinion in regards to Albert Pike. You know the number. If the administrator is in, please put my number in the comment box tonight, administrators. As I tell you, that number is 619-985-1184. Give me a call tonight. Let's have this honest opinion, this honest conversation in regards to Albert Pike and his contribution to Freemasonry, and what do Black Masons think of Albert Pike. Now, in reading this particular Scottish Rite volume here that belongs to, this is a Prince Hall Scottish Rite volume right here, okay? This is from 1946, and it still reflects and is still very close to the Scottish Rite volume 1 and 2 that you can go purchase. The ideal is the Scottish Rite volume 1 and 2 has a lot of footnotes that some agree with and some don't agree with. Some say that the book is pretty biased. My opinion in regards to the Scottish Rite Volume 1 and 2 is that I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me as long as the work is clear. Okay? I would say that most jurisdictions have their own Scottish Rite manual or ritual. I would say so. I believe so. That most Scottish Rite jurisdictions have their own manual or ritual. Some may not be as thick as this or big as this, but they do have them. Okay? And what's going on, traveling man? I hadn't heard from you in a while. Glad to have you aboard. John A. Hayes, what's going on with you? So as we get into this tonight, we're just going to dibble and dabble a little bit. I need to hear from somebody tonight in regards to this. I know there's some very educated people out there, more so than myself, in regards to uh, Brother Albert Pike. And it, and what's your thoughts? I mean, don't be shy now. I mean, if I was talking about what's your thought about John G. Jones, most of you would be like, oh, he was this and he was that. You would jump on this line. So I need for you to do the same for Albert Pike. I need for you to jump on this line. Let's have this conversation about Albert Pike and his contribution to Freemasonry and your true thoughts. Don't be so bashful to hide your thoughts like, oh my, let's really have a conversation. Let's really have this conversation because it needs to be had. A lot of you probably are afraid to have the conversation, but tonight, don't be afraid. Call in. Let's have the conversation. And while we're doing that, let's look at some of the things that have been said about Albert Pike. Hold on just a second. We're going to take a look at some of the things that's been said about Albert Pike. Okay, we're going to look at Brother L. Stewart Sanders. Okay, that's all I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you that last part of his name. It's L. Stewart Sanders. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go too deep. But this brother right here, this is what he said about Albert Pike. He said, I'm not getting into the back and forth with you on this. You can stand up for the racists who want to keep your ancestors enslaved and would spit on you if you were on fire. If you want to, like I said, I have the book. I studied the book. It is what it is. I try to use the words where they apply, but I'm not shedding one tear or going all out to defend this Confederate general. History, like you seem to be doing, your cable toe seems to be a lot longer than mine. I don't have time for. He's clearly saying that Albert Pike being a Confederate general, forget about him. He don't care. He just don't care. Let's look at some other things that maybe people have said in regards to Pike. Let's see. Let's see. I have one more down here. So you don't think Rochelle Masons is on the slippery slope? Freemasonry will survive just as through time immoral. Okay? And that's true. Freemason will survive. But tonight, as we get into this particular topic, and I'm looking for some brave soul to call in and have a conversation with me about Albert Pike, but I'm not getting that feedback right now. Greetings.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
I'm all right. So tonight we're talking about Albert Pike. Are you calling to talk about Albert Pike tonight with me?
Yes, I am.
All right, then. I'm glad I got one brave soul that was man enough to talk about Albert Pike. Go ahead. Let me tell me what you think about Albert Pike.
Well, Albert Pike was a very highly intelligent man from Ireland. I think he was from England. But he was very racist in his own way, and he didn't have no shame to say that he was racist. But he had a barber, Thornton A. Jackson. That was the commander of the Southern jurisdiction, and they would talk, and I guess Albert Pike befriended him and gave him the Scottish Rite manuals because at that time PHA was lacking for those rituals and stuff. And I got the book right here, the Phalanxes, third quarter 2018. It was saying the brother that found the ritual books was Sovereign Grand Inspector General L. Ken Collins. He's from Alabama. He's the Grand Historian for Press Hall of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And Southern Jurisdiction, Tennessee, USA, is the Jonathan Davis Consistory, #1.
Mm-hmm.
What he did, he found the books. His diligence efforts to find missing documents and historical artifacts of the Supreme Council, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite, Freemasonry, Prince Hall affiliation, Southern Jurisdiction, Tennessee, USA, led him to discover some of the most important artifacts in the history of the Scottish Rite Southern Jurisdiction. Brother Collins found the original Scottish Rite rituals, handwritten by Sovereign Grand Commander Albert Pike, the Supreme Council, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, USA, and gifted to Sovereign Grand Commander Thornton A. Jackson, Supreme Council, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite, PHA, Southern Jurisdiction, USA. It has always been the position of Prince Hall Friars that Albert Pike gave a set of rituals to Thornton Jackson in order for Prince Hall Masons to have a legitimate set of rituals for the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Prince Hall affiliation, Southern Jurisdiction, USA. However, the failure to be able to locate these rituals due to some misinformation about their being thrown away or lost led some to question the authenticity of our claims. However, in 2017, Sovereign Grand Inspector General Collins, not being satisfied with the current historical narrative on the beginnings of the Scottish Rite Masonry among African Americans, began his own research project to update the historical records. During his search, he came upon some old boxes in the headquarters building in Memphis, Tennessee, and located, and behold, upon further inspection, he discovered the long books gift to our illustrious Sovereign Grand Commander Thornton A. Jackson. Sovereign Grand Inspector General Collins was the special guest of the Jonathan Davis Consistory No. 1 September endeavors in Washington, D.C., where he gave a well-received in-depth early history of Prince Hall Mason's Scottish Rite journey. He also put on display two of the ritual books he found. Sometime early in 2019, these ritual books, along with the letters of transmission written and signed by Sovereign Grand Commander Albert Pike, will be available for review by all who are interested in seeing the proof of the claims of the Prince Hall Scottish Rite.
So wait, you saying that anybody can see the proofs of what?
Proofs of the claims of the rituals, letters that he found.
Okay.
And it also said in this paper, yeah, that's it. I can take a picture wherever he's holding the book, and I sent it to you.
Yeah, do that. I would love to take a look at that and maybe even write him a letter and say, hey, because he's, from what I'm listening to, you said they was handwritten.
Right.
Okay, handwritten. I mean, that's something that's very important when you talk about his Freemasonry being as it is in the history of Freemasonry. That is something definitely worth having in your archives. It is true. I would definitely like to see that and hear about that myself. I mean, but it's something to really to hear and to when you hear somebody say this is what they have in their possession, that says a lot. It really says a lot. You got anything else you want to add on to that? Because I'm all ears.
Well, that's actually that. That's it. I mean, he was very famous for fighting in wars. The battle with I can't think of that battle in Arkansas. He was known to make Indian masons and stuff.
Wait a minute. You said that Albert Pike was known for making Indians masons?
Yeah. Native Americans.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The battle with P. Ridge, he fought the Union troops.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not familiar with that. I am so not familiar with that.
Yeah, I found it for you. Now I sent it to you. Yeah, he made Indian Masons, Native Americans. Mm-hmm. It's like in Oklahoma, there are Indian Masons.
Okay.
Yeah. So he did a lot.
All right. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I think I did find something similar to the article that you just read, and it dealt with the findings of the rituals. I'm looking at an article now that was done by Arthro D. Hoyos,
Oh yes.
Hoyos.
Mm-hmm.
He did a, excuse me, he did an article in 1990 in regards to that. So that would be that's going to be interesting, bruh. That's going to be interesting. I do know that there was a ceremony done some years ago to commemorate the sharing of the Scottish Rite volume between PHA and Thornton. I mean PHA in the mainstream Scottish Rite body. But here's what gets me. Now we know that in 1869, if I'm not mistaken, the Supreme Councils amongst the African Americans Masons were established. With that being said, I wonder where did they get their Scottish Rite volumes from? Where did they get those lessons and teachings in regards to Scottish Rite? Because they had them long before Albert Pike came along. So I'm just curious in regards to that.
I really don't know. I really don't have the information at that time, but I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, yeah, look that up. I think that would be very interesting to know where did Pike, I mean, where did Black Masons get their Scottish Rite from? Where did it come from? That may be another topic for another show, but it all comes together. It no matter how you chop it up, it all comes together. You know,
Right.
and that's the ideal of learning and finding out for yourself. So if anybody else want to call in tonight and have that conversation, I certainly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you, brother, for calling in and just enlightening me on the article that you had before you. Now, before I close out tonight, I'm going to give my personal opinion in regards to Albert Pike, in adding to what I've already said. So we're going to see. We're going to see where this lands us and takes us tonight. You still on?
I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So,
go ahead. What you gonna say?
oh no, I'm about to send you the picture right now.
Okay, go ahead and send it over to me. I appreciate it.
All right, Tony.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, tonight, I had a gentleman on the phone just now, just giving me some background information on Albert Pike and Thornton Jackson and how this ritual is supposed to have been shared and given. But I'm just real skeptical on that. I'm just giving my opinion a little bit. I'm sort of skeptical on that. Albert Pike things are good for Freemasonry, but we all know damn well wasn't for the Black Masons. I would not call him my brother because I know if I was alive at his time, he'll call me a boy. Well, that's Drew. That's about true, brother. That's about true. Albert Pike was born in Boston. What's up, Alex? How you doing? And greetings. Yes, Cherokee. Really? Look, I don't want to go by rumors or hearsay. If you're going to tell me that Albert Pike made or gave the Indians made Indians Masons, if that's what you're going to tell me, please email me or text me something to show, because I'm not going to just sit here and take your word for the mere fact of you saying that, oh yeah, Albert Pike, he made Masons, he made Indians Masons. No, I ain't going down like that. You can call it what you want to call it. I ain't going down like that. And another thing, to know that the Black Masons was practicing Scottish Rite Freemasonry back in the before slavery. Actually, there were freed Black Masons who was actually practicing the Scottish Rite Freemasonry back then. So that's going to be something we're going to have to really take a look at. I mean, sincerely take a look at. You know, we can't just sit idly by and just take a word for it now, because it's deeper than that. And you know as well as I know, a few days ago, I think it was around June 19th, they burned the Albert Pike statue. Burned it, you know, set it ablaze. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, legitimately speaking, what is your thoughts on the people taking upon themselves to pull down the statue of a famous Mason? Let's just keep it where it's at. He was a famous Mason, and they pulled his statue down and they set it afire. What's your thoughts on that? Because to me, I'm going to let you know I'm not an Albert Pike type of guy. I do, and I have enjoyed the readings of Mars and Dogma. I do. But what I learned in the process is that a lot of that was also taken from the Memphis Mizram. Oh, you didn't know that? You didn't know that Pike probably played, what's the word they said? When you copy somebody else's material, it's a word. I'm trying to think of it. You know, yes, I believe he did that. I sure do. That is my opinion. I think from what I've read for myself, he did that. So you can chop that up any way you want to. I don't know how many of you may have the Emerald Tablets. I don't know how many of you know anything about the Memphis Mizram or Memphis Rites, Freemasonry. Albert Pike knew about these different rites. He did. Okay, but what he had did is that he considered those rites inadequate, that those was rites that they didn't practice. But I would tell you today, the mainstream Freemasonry, they have what they call college degrees, and those rites come up under their college degrees. You know, if I'm wrong, somebody needs to tell me, but I don't think so. I think many of you know exactly that these rights come up under those degrees. Period. Period. It's just what it is. So let me see. Light Traveler, thank you, Light Traveler. I appreciate it. The word you are looking for. Yes, pleasure. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Traveler, man. I appreciate it. Yes, Brother Larry Diamond, thank you for coming in. Another administrator. Definitely, I personally believe he did that based on some other books I've read where he got his information from. And out of the Supreme Council of Louisiana, he got a lot of their Scottish Rite works intertwined with his Dogs and Magma. That's my opinion based upon what I read. If anybody else has a different opinion and have some more things that they think I should read, share that. Share it. Don't hold back and say you don't know what you're talking about when you haven't put forth information and say, hey, check this out for yourself. That's what I'm saying. They should remove his statue, but his writing is educational. Well, when you say they should remove his statue, Brother Alex Fitzgerald, my apologies. When you say they should remove his statue, and we know that at the Scottish Rite building in Washington, D.C., they have another statue there of Albert Pike. What do you saying? I mean, because he's a Confederate general, they should remove it? I mean, I don't care. They can leave the statue there. I don't care about none of that. You can take down every Confederate statue you want to. I don't care. You know what I care about in this day and time? I care about policies. Policies dictate everything that government does, everything that the police does. Policy dictate that. Change the policy of these of the system. It would help us as black men, as black women, as black people to have a better foothold, because the policies that they have really hurts us. The war on drugs, we know who the war on drugs was all about. That's a policy. Change that. So, with that little tidbit being said, let's get back on tonight's topic. We're talking about Albert Pike and what he brought to Freemasonry. And as a black Mason, what's your opinion? So Alex Fitzgerald, I don't know your location. If you would like to call in tonight, please do so. Also, brother Traveling Man, call into the show. I know you can do it. You are here in the States. Call into the show. Let's have this conversation, because I believe you got something you need to say. What else we got here? Perception influences policies. That may be true to a point, but when you have things in writing, you can always hold somebody to the law if it's in writing. And that is something you can't get over. That is something you can't get under when it's in writing. Because then you can take them to court and prove your case because it's in writing. We need to change the policies. Those who are empowered to do so needs to change the policies of the police department and how they police. And that's another thing. Let me share this with you, gentlemen and ladies and sisters. Look, I'm finna get off the topic just for a second, just share some real good information for you. I was reading here recently that there was a lot of killings in Chicago, just here recently. And people were saying black on black crime. You don't even know if a black man or woman committed the shootings. You don't know because there's not been one one description of that individual that was shown who did the shooting. You don't know. But the first thing that comes out of some people's mouth, oh, black on black crime. How can Chicago be one, in that area of Chicago is one of the most heavily policed spots in Chicago, but yet you get all this killing and all with all the cameras all over that area. Cameras. You mean to tell me you can't get a car speeding away on a camera? Something ain't right with that. You need to wake. People need to wake up and understand that people can dress up like in blackface and drive through the community and do a shoot up and keep it rolling. The first thing you say, it looked like somebody black, but it wasn't. I'm just saying we need to wake up and stop just saying black on black crime, white on white crime, and Filipino on Mexican. Look, no, we got people that live on this planet. They're gonna kill each other. It's just what it is. What we're looking at today is some systemic racism in some places that holds the key to the justice system. And I will tell you this, and this ties into Freemasonry. Justice isn't blind. It is just those who have the power to distribute justice. They are the one that turns the blind eye to righteousness. They are the ones we need to start holding accountable. But as long as we keep turning our heads like it's going to be okay, it is not going to be okay. Now is that time while this movement is pressing forward to find your lane. Get in your lane. Find your place. Get in your place. And make sure that the changes that need to happen, happen. They're talking about getting out and vote. I will tell you this, brothers and sisters. Yes, I'm going to vote. But my vote counts more so in my local and state elections. The president is selected by electoral college. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. If your vote really counted during that election, she would be the president of the United States. So don't tell me about black people not voting for Hillary. Don't tell me for yourself. But I tell you this, when you vote for the judges in your area, judges, you vote for the city councilmen or aldermen in your area, you vote for the congressmen and senators for your districts, okay? They go and they represent you, all right? All I'm saying is this is when your vote counts, okay? It is kind of crazy to me that the president can only serve 8 terms, 8 years in office. That's all he gets, and after that he has to leave. That's all the president gets. But a senator, a congressman can stay their ass in that position for 30 and 40 years. That's the problem. The problem is the senators and congressmen. The problems are your judges that you have to vote for in your local area. The problem is your aldermen and your city council people in your district. That's what the problem is. You need to vote them out or vote some new ones in, because that's where your problems is at. I'm just letting you know, because what I did I ran for city council here in San Diego. So I know what I'm talking about. Your local elections are so very important. Your state elections, your governors, your mayors, those are, man, let me tell you, those are some damn important elections. People talk about the presidency election, but those vote counts, okay? They count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those votes count. If you're going to vote, those are the elections you get involved with. Your Congress and your Senate. Man, they be in there for 30 and 40 years. The president only gets 8 years total if he went back to back. But your senator and your congressman, oh my God, keep your eye on them. Mitch McConnell, how do you think he's been a senator in a House of Rep? I think he's, in the Senate for that long. All I want you to do is to wake up a little bit. Okay? That's all I'm asking you to do, is just to wake up a little bit. Participate. Find your lane, get in it, and make the changes that need to be made. With that being said, back to the regular scheduled program. We're talking about Albert Pike and his contribution to Freemasonry. We're talking about the mere fact that the Dogs of Magma was not written for Black Masons. It was not written for Black Masons. So don't you go talking about, why is it? No, it was not written for us. Okay? Although we have had the Scottish Rite Masons amongst us for over 200 years. But that book wasn't written for us. I need to know your thoughts about Albert Pike. Now, this is my thought. My personal opinion, I believe that a lot of Prince Hall brothers love Albert Pike. It brings them close to being with mainstream Freemasonry. That's my opinion. Now, I can be wrong. Now, if somebody want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm able to accept that. But from what I've read, from what I've gathered, from what I've heard, from what I've seen for myself, I personally believe that that the Prince Hall brothers, PHA, not PHO, I believe that they feel more connected and close to the Albert Pike man and his story and his heritage, the whole thing based upon Thornton A. Jackson giving him the rituals. Greetings, how can I help you?
Peace, bro. It's Brother Whitfield.
Brother Whitfield, how you doing there?
I'm good.
All right, talk to me.
Personal phone or the show?
Say again?
Is this your personal phone or is this the call in?
This is the call into the show right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're talking about Albert Pike.
I'm talking about Albert Pike.
Brother Paul got a little book out called The Scottish Rite Papers.
Yes, he does. Brother Paul does have a book called The Scottish Rite Papers, and I would tell anyone, they need to get his book. I don't have it personally, but I know of it. I've been told about it, and I will be getting that book, because that book really breaks down and sheds a light on a whole lot of things that was going on with the Scottish Rite Freemasons here in the United States.
Really happened, and what really happened.
Absolutely.
And what didn't happen. They was promoting like you did.
So tell me this here, Brother Whitfield. Do you have a copy of that book?
Of course I do.
Okay, well, give me your opinion. Break down. Talk to me.
Well, being a member, I think it's excellent. Being a member of the SCL.
Okay.
Council of Louisiana, founded in 1839.
Oh, back up. Hold on. Did you not just say that you was part of the Supreme Council of Louisiana?
Yeah, I thought you knew that,
Yeah, okay. Well, hey, bro, this conversation is on you. You could talk it up. Talk to me.
Well, let me say this now. I'm not a representative. I haven't been authorized to speak on behalf of the SCL.
Just your opinion, bro. Just your opinion.
Just my personal opinion.
Correct.
But I'm a member. I'm in the Grand Order of New York. Supreme Council for the Grand Consistory of New York. And I sit in the east of my lodge.
former members of the SCL. He got his 33rd degree from our ritual and former members of the SCL.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta
say. Now, I will say this. It is said that Prince Hall, PHA, their Scottish Rite, at one time came up under the protection of the Supreme Council of Louisiana. And once they perceived that Pike had given them the Scottish Rite volumes or the Scottish Rite book, they then turned their back on the Supreme Council of Louisiana. Am I understanding that correctly? Do you know? Have you heard anything like that?
Well, what I do know is that Eureka Grand Lodge in Louisiana, for the men that call themselves at this time, was an amity with the Supreme Council of Louisiana. And some split came on, down the line, and everybody wanted to be, their own, I guess, things. But for what I understand, what he did, maybe allegedly did give them, was his rewritten version, which was rejected by the former members of our Supreme Council.
Uh-huh.
So he gave them, his revised whatever, if anything. You said, I think he gave from the 4th on up. What starts at 4? So they got something incomplete anyway. I appended. They didn't get the Scottish one. They got part of it or something facsimile thereof.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Pretty much everybody knows history.
You said pretty much everything else is history, huh?
I said, everybody else pretty much knows his basic history. The Confederate general dealing with the Native Americans and all of that.
Uh-huh.
But he wasn't from England, like Homeboy said.
No, he was definitely, Albert Pike was definitely not from England.
And the SCL was not started by France. Okay? You can see our articles of incorporation in 1870. And what makes it even more sweet to show how we was in amity, the lieutenant government, Oscar Dunn, that signed off on it, was with Eureka.
Mm-hmm.
So they showed we was together at that time doing the Reconstruction. But somewhere down the line, we got divided, and
Well, isn't the Supreme Council of Louisiana? Have you heard of Full House Supreme Council?
Can I say Foul House?
Yes, there you go.
No, he was one of our Sergeant Grand Commanders, and he was the one that was going head to head with Pike.
Okay.
They tried to coup. He tried to revive the southern jurisdiction from Charleston, which went to sleep more than one time. So he tried to revive it with Mackey, and do a coup off the authenticity of our, lineage and so forth, like they did in the North when they took over, Sano's council and so forth, and merged with them. But you don't merge with something that's illegitimate, do you?
No, you do not.
Okay.
You absolutely do not.
They wanted to Americanize, Louisiana. After they became a state from the French territory, they wanted to Americanize everything. So that was the big thing. And because we was without the, doing that so-called concordant, which was illegal and unlawful. That's why, they're statutory and with de jure. But, back then, they wanted to Americanize everything, and he gave the other guys what he did to try to come against us because we was practicing the first 3 degrees after we was without the Grand Lodge in 1855.
Now, for what I understand from the Louisiana Supreme Council, they go 1 through 33. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is correct. We do the whole correct. Right.
Now, under the Supreme Council of Louisiana, is there a Grand Lodge that is associated with that Supreme Council, or is it that the Supreme Council itself is the head?
Yeah, we're an independent body.
Okay, gotcha.
Competent jurisdiction of our own.
Let's just...
And I even showed you through the articles of incorporation, through the act of legislature, through the lieutenant government, through the government. But there are only 2 ways we can incorporate it. Either through the Secretary of State or through the executive body, through the government, which makes it an act, a law. So by law, we we are who we are. It's a state law, Act number 24, March 16th, 1870. Okay?
Okay.
So that's like one of the 4 ways we get the right to operate, the ancient settler Scotch right from the 1st to the 33rd.
Yeah, but see, a lot of people don't know that though.
Of course not. Of course not. That's why you got to study, do your due diligence, and deal with the right people. But you got to be open-minded too.
That is
You
true.
got a lot of people coming from that Grand Lodge is coming from an Anglophone perspective, and a lot of people are coming from that perspective. While intercepting Scottish Rite is more Francophone. Comes out of France. Different mindsets. Remember, they got rid of their monarchy, right?
Yeah.
Liberty, fraternity. Remember that?
What's up, Tony?
Hey, not much, brother. I gotta have you on my show tonight. We're talking about the Supreme Council in Louisiana, and we're also talking about your boy Albert Pike.
Okay. Well, are you on live now?
I'm on live now. I got you live right now, and I got another brother that's a part of Louisiana Supreme Council that's on the phone right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be on too much longer, but go ahead.
Okay, I hear him.
Go ahead, talk to me.
All right, I'm listening.
No, the reason I call you
we're talking about Father Hike. We're talking about Albert Pike.
Yes, the reason I call you up is because we're talking about Albert Pike tonight. And I know that you and I have had this conversation. So tonight's show is, what did Albert Pike contribute to? What do Black Masons think of Albert Pike?
Okay. All right. You want me to call your phone?
You can talk right now. I got you right now. You can have that conversation right now.
Oh, let me say something. I'm not black. I'm not a Black Mason.
Say what now? Hold on just a second. Say what, sir?
I just want to clarify that I'm not a Black Mason.
Well, that's the title of the show tonight. It doesn't even matter. Your point in reference to Albert Pike matters more so than whether you are a Black or white Mason.
Right, I'm calling it as a Scotch Mason.
Okay.
Not a Black Mason.
I got you. I understand that totally. So in other words, you don't want to have any confusion. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's it, brother.
All right, then. All right. So
you got Negro Masonry, then you got true Freemasonry.
Okay.
And that's that.
That's that. All right. So, brother, hey, talk to me, brother Kevin.
Hey, man, it's great to be on your show. I think a lot of people have Albert Pike wrong. As I said on your post earlier, I think history has dealt him a bad hand, and I think it's because of the entire Confederate thing, him being a Confederate general. And the question to that is simply this: you show me one, white male back then who wasn't the racist, who wasn't the bigot. And we tend to make things. A lot of times when we speak in Freemasonry, we tend to make things, put things in the context of absolutes. And I think specifically to Albert Pike, that's not really the case. I think he was a brilliant man. I think he got a few things wrong regarding the Scottish Rite, regarding certain things, especially in the first three degrees. But ultimately, he did a lot of work to expand the Rite. And a lot of people don't understand that, the Southern jurisdiction had went to sleep. They pretty much went defunct for a number of years. They tried to cover it up in Lodge of the Double-Headed Eagle. But there's some other writers that do speak on them going defunct. And they pretty much had something that they didn't understand what they had. And it took Albert Pike when he became Sovereign Grand Commander, as my brother said, after the coup in 1855, when he actually looked at the degrees and decided to expand on the degrees. But one thing we have to be clear, Albert Pike was not a Mason when he got to New Orleans. He was actually an Odd Fellow. And then he was introduced to Freemasonry while in New Orleans. And so think about that for a minute. He comes to New Orleans. He comes there as a lawyer. He's practicing law, and he becomes an Odd Fellow. And then he's introduced to Freemasonry.
So then that forces him to kind of do a little bit of history, a little bit of research, and in my opinion, to do a little bit of catch up, because New Orleans Freemasonry had been there since 1751. As a matter of fact, there was a Scottish Rite Lodge, or early Scottish Rite Lodge, in New Orleans operating since 1751. And there's an entire book that Michael Poole from Cornerstone Publishing put out about that lodge. So what he did was he took what he thought he knew about the Scottish Rite, and he applied it to a ritual which he created, or he wrote, or he authored, called The Porch in the Middle Chamber, the book of the Lodge, which my sources in New Orleans have repeatedly said that it was a failed attempt at a Scottish Rite ritual. It was good, but if as someone such as myself, someone such as Brother Whitfield, Brother Trevan Laurie, those of us who practice the first 3 degrees of the ancient and simple Scottish Rite, we know that it was a failed attempt. You know, he tried, but he actually missed the mark. Nonetheless, we still need to give credit for the work that he did, because the man was a prolific. He was an awesome writer, and he did usher the Scottish Rite into a whole new level of thought when he became Sovereign Grand Commander. So I definitely give him his props for that.
So with that being said, what do you think about his writings, knowing that a lot of it comes from the continent of Africa?
Well, and exactly, I was talking to a brother about, Albert Pike's position on Freemasonry and some African origins of Freemasonry. And I mean, I wouldn't say Freemasonry as in its entirety comes from Africa. I would say the initiatic process comes from Africa, and he is, as well as Manly T. Hall, they were able to extrapolate that information from Africa, from the actual Masonic rituals, and show the correlation in between. Because just like Freemasonry, nothing comes from nothing. A lodge cannot just be born. It has to come from some kind of source. So the Masonic information, the esoteric information, Freemasonry has a message, and the message of Freemasonry, in essence, we can find it in old African myths, the Egyptians, the southern Egyptians, to be more specific, the book of the Amduat, some people call it the book of the gates. When you read that book, you're actually reading the soul as of the deceased as it travels through those 9 realms, those 9 gates, on the way to the other side. And we see that in the Masonic initiation when we're going through those different, I don't want to call it gates, but we're going through a process very similar
of those different
to what
rites.
the ancient Egyptians did.
So I'm gonna share this. This is a post that just popped up from from Randolph Taylor. He said Oddfellows is the closest to, yeah, it is. Oddfellows is the closest to Freemasonry. Also, the mechanics are very close to Freemasonry. As quiet as it's kept, most mechanics, I'm just adding this to this conversation, most mechanics and those degree works are found over in Haiti, Jamaica, in Brazil, and places like that. They were once part of Freemasonry, and it's very interesting how they came about. And that we're talking about the mechanics, because the brother brought up the fact of the Oddfellows. The Oddfellows is a very old organization. They're not as big as they once were, but they're just as relevant now as they once was at a long time ago. So I know some Oddfellows, and it's very close to Freemasonry. Yet that is true.
Well, yeah, definitely. The Oddfellows, and the mechanics, they've been around. As a matter of fact, a couple of friends of mine, well, actually my father's friends, they were mechanics, and they actually wear the graduation cap, which I thought was kind of odd, but I don't really know a lot of their esoteric work. But definitely, a lot of orders, especially in the early 1800s, mid to late 1800s, a lot of orders emerged out of Freemasonry. Whatever the reasons they emerged out of Freemasonry, and a lot of them actually there was another brother Robert L. Cooper, who is the curator for the Grand Lodge of Scotland, the we speak frequently on our Facebook, and he was doing a piece about about an order that I was like, it was the order of the gardeners, the free gardeners, and they did an entire piece on that. And I was like, what the crap is this? I had never heard of this.
I'm not familiar with that either. I've heard of the Order of the Golden Circle, the Order of the Dawn,
right?
But I've not heard of the Order of the Free Gardeners.
Yes. So it was an order that originated in Scotland, and let me see if I can pull it up. And he introduced me to it, and I was like, what? I've never heard of this. But actually, their emblem is a compass and square with something that looks like a garden tool in the middle of it.
That's interesting.
I'll send you the link of it.
Hey, I appreciate that.
The Order of the Free Gardeners is a fraternal society that was founded in Scotland in the middle of the 1700s. So a lot of people have added to the overall consciousness of Freemasonry and the Scottish Rite system itself. And we need to, although we don't agree with a lot of things that Albert Pike said, and I'll tell you one thing that I find I can't stand is how people tend to take bits and pieces of, they will take one line or two liner or maybe three liner, and then they will paint Freemasonry or Albert Pike with just this broad brush. I'm like, no, did you read the previous information that he wrote, or you're just taking one line or two line and say, yep, there it is, I told you they were devil worshippers. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, today I was looking at a video from Brother Swan in Texas.
Chad Swanson?
30-minute piece on that. Yep, Chad Swans. Yeah, he did a 30-minute piece on that, which I felt was excellent because it actually showed Albert Pike from a different position. And I cannot change anyone's mind how they feel about Albert Pike. But all I can say is do some thorough research. Before you throw the man off the bus, call him a racist, call him a bigot. Well, guess what? 80 to 90% of white men back in the day was also bigoted and racist. Now, should we just throw away everything? Mackey was racist, wasn't he? Should we throw away Mackey as well?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to stop listening to people's opinion and do thorough research. Read for yourself so you can make a proper, educated decision on Albert Pike. The man was brilliant. A lot of things he said. And one more thing. It's even more important. A lot of times we're taking our modern day eyes, 2020, and we're looking at things in the 1800s and trying to apply. You have to, it's very important to put things in its historical context. What things was like, what the education system was like, what technology was like. All of those things add towards what was going on back then. It's not just
But you know what?
Absolutely.
I'm going to cut you a little bit on that. And when I say that is because when I've read the 32nd degree and now being a 33rd and higher, and I read about what these degrees are supposed to be teaching and what they're supposed to be all about. And if a member of any race who calls themselves a Freemason, whether it be a 33rd or a 32nd degree, and you don't apply that to what you said you would or wouldn't do, then to me, you're just thrown out everything. Because I read what the 32nd degree meant to justice and honesty. I read that for myself. I read why they hold a sword or a sword in the claw of the eagle. I read that. I read what was on the banner of the 33rd or 32nd Scottish Rite emblem. And then you don't take it and apply it, and you take it and you use it in such a way to dog another race of people out. I can agree that he did indeed write a great book. He did and done some great things for white Masons to push them forward. I can see that from that point of view. And it's not just that I'm just saying white Mason, because now we have that material too to a certain point. But what I'm saying is when I think of Albert Pike, when I hear what you're saying in regards to his writings, that's all good. But when you have these books disposal and you don't put them things into practice that you say, I have no excuse for you. That's me. I don't.
I got a little more opinion about Albert Pike.
Go ahead, Brother Whitfield.
Well, we know he had blood on his hands. And my opinion is a little more personal because he tried to steal my birthright. Okay? As far as I'm concerned. But he did promote the American brand of what they call interceptor Scottish Rite. But it's not a right. But he did create the American brand and promote it very well. That's why he's well known, and why I would say a lot of people know about what they think is the interceptor Scottish Rite. Okay. They know the name, but they don't know the actual right. If you ain't getting it in your foundation, you don't have it. You understand?
Right.
Everything starts from the foundation. That's a true initiatic process that we brought over, that you talked about from Kemet.
Yeah.
That starts in the foundation.
I'm going to add somebody else to the call. Hold on just a second. Hey, Noble Jason, are you calling into the show tonight?
Past Graham, I'm sorry. I was calling you on some. I didn't even know you was on, brother. I'm sorry about that.
Well, hit me back later, all right?
All right, I'm sorry about that.
No problem, brother. No problem. So, look, we're going to go ahead and close out tonight's show. We've been in for about an hour and a 6. I hope, as always, that individuals who have called the show, those who are watching, that you got something out of this, because like I said, you know, yes, Albert Pike did add some flavor, brought a lot of good information to Freemasonry, but on the flip side of that, he did do some things that, you know, that was sketchy, very much so sketchy. So, you know, this is where we're at tonight, and there was I think that this was a conversation that needed to be had. Say what, brother?
We didn't even mention the rumor about him helping start the KKK. We ain't gonna go there.
Oh, that's gonna probably be for another show. This won't be the last show. Trust me, it won't be the last one. So, but with that being said, hey, I want to send a shout out to Mende, Mende. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate you. Thank you. I saw it go up and I had to kind of find it, scroll down and find it again. Thank you, Mende. It's Mande for the gifts. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brother Hawkins, let me just give a shout out to my brother Eric Collins. He's also a full Scottish Rite Mason. He is from the Supreme Council for Italy. I want to give a shout out to Brother Trevan Lar from the National Supreme Council, and my brother Whitfield from the Supreme Council of Louisiana, and to the Supreme Council of Mexico 1860, who's in amity with the Grand Orient of France. I just want to give a shout out to all those Scottish Rite first 3-degree Masons working the Rite as it should be, the foundational degrees. Hauser.
And you wouldn't believe that Thornton A. Jackson had something to do with Hauser, would you? See, I'm telling you, man, this thing is deep. Hauser, yes, he did. He had, man, like I said, including John G. Jones. Oh, you didn't know? Yes, he had something to do with Hauser also. He was down in Louisiana too, because John G. Jones all up and through southern the South, especially in Texas. Man, this conversation go on for days, but definitely that was a good shout out. I appreciate it. And just so you know, that Brother Eric also is a member. Brother Eric Collins is also a member of Research Lodge number 147. Thank you. We appreciate you and the work that you do. And that brother, I was looking for an administrator. This brother sent me some documents. I'm like looking at his documentation and things that he's a part of. I'm like, oh my God. The brother got his paperwork together. I have to give that to him. So, yes, go ahead.
But you mentioned John G. Jones. You know who he was in communication with Louisiana.
You said what about John G. Jones?
You know he was in communications with my counsel.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have some documentations on that from Brother Brother Tay from out of Texas hooked me up and was sharing some stuff with me. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely. John G. Jones believed that Supreme Councils had the privilege and it was their duty to set up Grand Lodges and lodges. He believed that. I can say that from my own readings and what I have.
Let me say one last thing about Albert Pike before I leave.
Brother Hawkins, let me be clear that when you're dealing with full Scottish Rite, the full right of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite, a Supreme Council does have the authority to charter those lodges, and then once those lodges are chartered, it's in the best interest to form a Grand Lodge.
Well,
because the authority of that body has to come from somewhere.
It does.
Lodge can't just form itself out of thin air. So the question is, where would that lodge get its authority from in order to form?
You're not going to get that argument out of me. I'm actually agreeing with you on that.
100.
For real, 100 for real. Go ahead, Brother Whitfield, what you was going to say?
Because of my counsel that Albert Pike went on a campaign for the American Grand Lodges, to go against us because we practice the first 3 degrees.
Really?
It's our own right. Yeah.
You know what?
We influence American masonry more than most people know.
I'm going to, how can I get in contact with Brother Poole?
On Facebook.
All right, because I would love for him to come on the show and really just take it over and talk about his book that he's written, the Scottish Rite Papers.
Right. That would be excellent.
Absolutely.
Let me know if you get that, if you pull that off.
Oh, I'm definitely going to let you know, and we're going to make it happen. But I will tell you this here. I got a special guest coming on the show. He said that he will be coming on after July the 4th. This brother here is a member of Mosque number 8 here in San Diego. He's a national leader in the Nation of Islam. And I can't wait till he come on the show and throw some jewels at me from another perspective. I really can't wait. But that's going to be after July. I think it's like July the 5th. He said he would come on, or July the 6th. But we'll see. Got to have him on the show. So, first of all, I want to say thanks, brothers, for coming on. I appreciate you. And for those of you who was on the show tonight, I hope that you was able to get something out of it. And until next time, whatever you do, wherever you go, be safe, people. Be safe. Stay out the bushes and keep your light on. Peace.